What's going on, everybody? I know I'm a little late with this video. Usually try to get this out a little bit earlier in the evening, even when I do push it to the evening, but not too worried about it with these videos because it's such a small audience anyway. But let's talk about more college football prospects. We're doing the defense now, focusing on certain positions. You guys know the drill. And it was actually a pretty good week. I actually liked a lot of what I saw from this group. I think there was a lot of good stuff going on here. So we got nose tackles up first. We're going to start there. Mostly the high profile guys did positively this week. Caden McDonald of Ohio State, 3 tackles, including 1 for a loss. Ohio State, as is typical, did not allow really any rushing yards. 68 rushing yards allowed, 2.7 yards a carry, 68.2 PFF. If he is a nose tackle, and it's not totally clear that he is, but if he is a pretty good one. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you guys about Sleeper. I'll tell you a little secret as well. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users have enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there's so much more to it. You have live stats, real-time updates of all stats. You have a news feed with lightning-fast updates on players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about plays, performances, games, all kinds of stuff during the sports season. So download Sleeper, experience it for yourself, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit, and pair that with their new promo that will give you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. So you can use both of those promos. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and going. So check out Sleeper today and use those promos. Then we got Christian Miller of Georgia. He's in a similar boat. If he is a nose tackle, and it's not totally clear that he is, he's a good one. Had a tackle for Georgia, but 5 pressures. Again, right now he's doing a lot of 3-tech stuff, but he has been doing some heavy 1-tech stuff earlier in the season. So it just depends on how much credit you want to give him for that. Georgia didn't allow any rushing yards, really. 23 rushing yards, 1.4 yards a carry to Texas. Not a bad team at all, by the way. 74.8 PFF. And Dante Corleone, still hanging around here for Cincinnati. Had a tackle, had a pressure. Cincinnati did get run on a little bit, but not terribly so. 4.3 yards a carry. 67.6 PFF, always good. So those are some standout nose tackles from this week. Edge rushers, a lot of familiar faces, although there is one guy who finally made this series that I thought was going to be making it almost every week. Not talking about David Bailey. He's made it a lot lately for Texas Tech. 3 tackles, including the sack, 6 total pressures, so he continues to just get into the backfield over and over and over. Did have 2 penalties. How often do you see a PFF grade over 80 when a player has 2 penalties? That's pretty impressive. And it seems like every game he's just constantly making quarterbacks' lives miserable. DJ Parker, we haven't talked about him as much this year as I would have thought for Clemson. Clemson in general has been a big disappointment. 3 tackles, including half a tackle for loss, 4 quarterback pressures, and 89.6 PFF. Very, very strong there. Cassius Howell of Texas A&M, 4 tackles, including a sack, 3 passes deflected. How often do you see that in a game? An edge rusher batting down 3 passes at the line, 2 pressures, did miss 1 tackle, did pick up 1 penalty, 67 PFF, but 3 batted passes. I gotta get you on this list for that, even if nothing else was all that stellar. Romello Height of TTU. Again, these TTU guys, every week it seems like they're here. 4 tackles, including a sack, 4 pressures, 81.1. No penalties, so maybe he's like the sober yin to David Bailey's raging yang. I don't know, but I like this pair. I think both guys are bringing positive things to the table, and both guys are going to be intriguing draft prospects. David Bailey at this point, if the character issues do not become a thing, he's probably a top 20 pick. And Donnie Dennis Sutton of Penn State, we have not talked about him hardly at all this year. Very disappointing, but he just went and had a pretty remarkable game for Penn State. Not been a good year for that team either. He had 2 sacks, 12 pressures. 12 is right up there with the highest numbers I've seen all year for anybody. 1 missed tackle, 1 committed penalty, 75.7. So I think that's worthy of discussion. If you can get 12 pressures in a game, you're kind of automatically going to make this, even if nothing else is great. And look, he had 2 sacks, 1 missed tackles, not that big of a deal, 1 penalty, whatever. I am happy to live with that if I'm getting this kind of pass rush from my guy. All right, moving on to off-ball linebacker here. Not a bad week. Sonny Styles. Every week it's going to be at least one of the Ohio State guys, I think. This week, Styles did more. 7 tackles, including 1 for a loss. Allowed 2 catches, but only 9 yards, so coverage was fine, 78.1. Arvil Reese has clearly become the more hyped of the 2 prospects, but Sonny Styles is probably, if this keeps up, I think he's going to be a first-round pick as well. I think that we're probably to the point where we are talking about a pair of linebackers going in that first round. Jake Golday of Cincinnati, 13 tackles, so constantly around the ball in this one, half a tackle for loss. Didn't do a ton else other than just the tackles, but it does stand out because in college football, typically you don't see tackle counts that high in a game. Did allow 4 catches on 5 targets, 35 yards. Not terrible, not great, just kind of okay. 73.7. I believe this is a new name. I don't know if we've talked about Tarian York before, the A&M linebacker, part of that monster comeback, obviously. Mixed bag, 8 tackles, including a tackle and a half for a loss. Now, 5 catches on 5 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown. That sounds really bad, right? But one of those catches and 80 of those yards came on the Nick Harbor touchdown. And the touchdown as well came on the Nick Harbor play. So you take out the Nick Harbor play, it's 4 catches for 12 yards, which is totally fine. And it's probably a bad idea to have a linebacker trying to cover Nick Harbor anyway, so I don't know if I want to punish Tarian York too much for that. 71.8, like, you get what you get when you match up a linebacker on a guy like Nick Harbor. Lander Barton of Utah, haven't talked about him a lot in this sequence, but 4 tackles, 2 for a loss, including a sack. So making some splash plays, only missed 1 tackle, did not get targeted once in coverage. Throughout this whole year, he's actually been targeted very little in coverage. 65.6 PFF. Final guy, Jacob Rodriguez, another guy who's becoming a weekly staple here. 9 tackles, picked off a pass, did miss 1 tackle, and did allow 8 catches on 10 targets, but only 55 yards. That's not that bad, especially when you throw the pick in there. And he's had a couple plays in coverage made this year. He's doing some good stuff. 72.6 PFF. Really like him as a day 3 linebacker guy. Might be just what the doctor ordered for this Seahawks team in the position they're in right now. Cornerback. We're moving on to cornerback now. Mansour Delane makes the list again. Haven't seen him in a little bit, but he's back up to his usual tricks for LSU. 4 tackles, batted down 2 passes, including a pick. So making plays on the ball now. He did get targeted more than he usually does. Did give up 38 yards on 5 targets, but you know, you're going to come up with an interception. I can live with that. 69.8 PFF. Colton Hood of Tennessee, another guy who's probably a first-round pick at this point. 7 tackles, including half a tackle for loss. Batted down 1 pass. Did allow 7 catches, but it was 11 targets and 53 yards. That's less than 5 yards a target. I don't have a big problem with that. 75.3 PFF. And Keith Abney, who we've talked about plenty in this weekly segment. Arizona State, another pretty good week for Abney. 4 tackles, including 2 passes defensed, which included his pick. Also forced a fumble, so right then and there, you're like, wow, this guy is a big-time playmaker in the secondary. Missed a tackle, only allowed 2 catches on 8 targets, so did not allow a lot on many, many opportunities to complete a pass on him. 53 yards isn't great, so the catches he gave up were pretty big ones, admittedly, but again, he made up for it. It's 88.3 PFF. Can't go too wrong. Damani Jackson of Alabama, quiet game, but it was quiet in the way that a cornerback wants to be quiet. 5 tackles, allowed 1 catch for 7 yards, 71.8 PFF grade. And finally, D'Angelo Pons of the Indiana Hoosiers. 2 tackles, batted down a pass, didn't allow any catches, only got targeted the 1 time, 76 PFF. Again, quiet in the way that a cornerback wants to be quiet. All right, that's it for this week. I'm going to get this up. I'm going to get out of here. More videos coming tomorrow. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everybody have a good rest of your day.